So I wanted to make a quick video today about the role that the ego plays in the Dark Night of the Soul. Thanks for requesting that, whoever that was. I think it was maybe Ali or something. Sorry if I got that wrong. And I'm in a nice comfortable seat after my yoga practice, so I'm just going to stay here and be totally lazy. So let's get into this. Okay, so please bear in mind that the ego construct is our creation. It does not actually exist physically. Let's prove it to you if you close your eyes with me. We know that we can't find this me, this thing we called me. Can we? Have a look. If you look around your body, you can't find what it is that you call me, this mental construct. You can't find it. We've made it up. And this mental construct that we've made up, that isn't tangible, it's not real, we can call the ego. One tip to help you decipher whether something's coming from your ego or whether it's coming from your higher self is this idea that if it's coming from fear, it's your ego, and if it's coming from love, it's your higher self. I say it like your higher self is something separate to you or above you. It isn't. It is you. And as we become more of our higher selves, we sort of open up, shall we say, a bit of a doorway to allow, I don't want to say better, but for lack of a better word, better thoughts to come in. Thoughts that are more in alignment with, I don't like using this terminology, but it's going to have to come out this way, source frequency. Our frequency at source, clear consciousness, before we come into this body, is higher than the frequency that we have in our day-to-day lives, because most of us in our day-to-day lives are not representative of that sort of source frequency as we go through our day-to-day business. We, in essence, believe ourselves to be this body and this personality in our heads, this identity. I don't know how other way to word it. And of course, that frequency is quite low. It's very negative, these thoughts in our heads that go around. And of course, if you're in the Dark Night of the Soul, you'll know this. You'll likely know it anyway if you're waking up to this true self. And by true self, I mean the witness within this body. The true self that never left source, that is always that frequency, but that we tend to leave behind in some pursuit externally. Meaning, even when I speak like that, meaning internally is still externally to that consciousness that holds source frequency. Can we speak like that? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm losing some of you. But in essence, life is much like a projector projecting out onto a screen. You as source, or you as the witness, are the projector. Your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, your life, your body is the screen in the movie theatre. You're the projector. So is the external world. The external world is also part of the screen. It's akin to saying that you're the projector, right? So you're never really fully involved in this play. We can just sit back and enjoy the play for what it is on the movie screen, because we're never part of it. However, it does sometimes feel like we lose that source, that projector frequency, that source frequency in us, because we forget that we're the witness and we get caught up and become the actress or the actor on the screen. this personality, this identity that we believe ourselves to be us, this body that's playing out this life and how it's planning out and how it's panning out, sorry. And we're not. We are the witness of the consciousness, of the body, of the play, of the external world. And the role of the ego, like I said earlier, we know if it's ego, if it's coming from fear, like a thought or a feeling from fear, if it's coming from the ego, and if it's coming from a position of love or faith or hope or trust, it is your higher self. So what role does the ego play in the awakening process? And more specifically, what role does it play in the dark night of the soul? I like to think of the ego as like the Joker card in a deck of cards. He's the Joker that is essentially worthless, right? Let me just turn that off. He's the worthless card, isn't he, in the pack? And every time he comes up, it's like, oh, well, we can just discard him, right? But in our lives, we don't do that. We believe the Joker to be part of the pack, which is absolutely nuts because it only causes us fear, anxiety, stress, creates this hopeless projection into the future that's sad and like my future won't turn out all right whilst everything's turning out all right. And when we see it like that, it seems silly, because it is silly to believe the ego to be us. But a lot of us don't have this training, and I can't judge either because I didn't have this training until I was, 20? Maybe 19? And it's pain that leads us to these teachings, right? So that we begin to understand who we are and our place in this universe and understand our consciousness a little bit better as we dive deeper into the truth of our true self. For me, the dark night of the soul and the ego's place in it. The ego is a bridge. For me, a bridge between thinking, which is, I would say, a three-dimensional living, like thinking, identity, is a bridge between that and feeling, meaning feeling your being, feeling the consciousness, feeling the being underneath your skin, feeling the energetic field underneath your skin, as that all the time. And that's the difference between, I'd say, from this perspective, 3D and 4D living. Why is the ego the bridge? Well, the ego's the bridge because we know when it's the ego speaking, because he's a very sharp tongue. And when we believe him, it causes pain for us, right? Either in our belly if we're in the dark night of the soul, or perhaps in our heart, our chest tightens or our heart sinks as we believe something false that the ego's told us to be true about ourselves, right? And the reason it's the bridge is because we're transitioning from thinking to feeling the energy under our body. From thinking we're an identity to feeling. And the reason that the ego's the bridge is because the ego will cause you to feel pain. Beforehand, we were quite happy to get on with our lives and our consciousness up here in our head. And, sometimes people who are totally unconscious, when I'm the same, we don't even realise we are having thoughts. There's no awareness that there's thoughts within us. We're just constantly thinking, I've got a good idea. It's this constant play that we don't even realise there's space between us, the witness, and the thoughts. So we're just constantly involved thinking I'm having constantly good ideas. And that's what leads us to the dark night of the soul, because believing I'm not good enough seems to be my idea. It's good idea, it's mine. And fantastic that happens. Brilliant. I'm not going to give you a negative side to it and say that it's a bad thing. The dark night of the soul is a blessing. To believe you're not good enough is a blessing. Didn't think I'd say that, did you? It is a blessing though, because pain is given to us from our higher selves, which is us. Pain is given us from our higher selves, which is us, so that we investigate that pain and we feel it. And the reason that the pain is there is because the ego is feeding us lies, feeding us fear, feeding us, fear. So the reason it's the bridge between thinking and feeling is because now for the first time we have to feel, right? Now it's a bridge, and it's not going to take you all the way until we begin to change that fearful, negative feeling that the ego's fed us on into positive feelings. You're still going to have an ego. It's just, do you want a positive one or a negative one? I suppose that's not actually really true. You're still going to have thoughts in your head, but are you going to attach to them or not? We're in control of our ego, and we can create absolute heaven for ourselves with our minds. Our minds can become our best friends, but at the moment they're not, right? And that's why we're in the dark night of the soul. So we have to feel to heal, right? So we're feeling the pain. The pain's teaching us things about it, saying, oh, you believe you're not good enough, or you believe you're not worthy, or you believe this life won't turn out the way that it should. Beliefs. But we're feeling these beliefs, right? So it's a bridge between thinking and feeling. And like I said a moment ago, we need to feel to heal, right? As we begin feeling these egoic thoughts, fearful egoic thoughts, we begin to realize that I'm not feeling any pain anymore. That I don't want to feel pain anymore. I'm bored of being anxious. I'm bored of being scared to go out of the house. I'm bored of feeling fearful that my life isn't going to pan out. Fine, whatever. We get to that point. We get bored of feeling the pain because painful feelings absolutely sabotage our energy so much. We end up totally exhausted, which is why we never want to get out of bed and we want to sleep a lot while we're in the dark night of the soul. It leaves us exhausted, which then introduces us to a yogic principle called brahmacharya, which is conservation of one's energy. Well, if painful thoughts are really hurting me, then I need to be doing and hemorrhaging my energy, then I really need to be doing the best that I'm able to conserve that energy. And how do I do that? And build more energy. And how do I do that? Cliche, Jamie, but it's through breathing practices and it's through yoga. And should you wish, there's a free cosmic double breathing process, a yogic technique that will energize, relax, oxygenate your entire nervous system. It's a start. Start there. Give it a go. Watch how we transition from thinking to feeling in that breathing practice. You'll notice yoga works. Yogic principles and yogic breathing practices works. There's a reason why it's so popular. There's a reason why I genuinely believe India will honestly come into their true power very shortly, because they've taken the time to dedicate their lives and their whole society into essentially finding out how and why these yogic practices work. They are, in essence, I don't want to say creators of yoga, but they're the founders of yoga. And when the world realizes that we're in one hell of a well-being muck and that we've forgotten who we truly are, India will be our saving grace. And so will anybody with this knowledge. So I'm empowering you with this knowledge now. If you wish to conserve your energy, if you wish to switch from thinking to feeling and get yourself out of the dark night of the soul, because that's really what we want to be doing, switching from the thoughts to the feeling inside your body, the being that we are, dropping those thoughts, becoming present, and how we do this and really charge that energy so that we have literally electric pulses throbbing through our veins in every moment of every day. We do breathing practices and yoga, and you'll know that they feel great. Of course, down below there's a free community for awakening souls. That's free. It'll always be free. And I think that will do for me. Thank you so much for watching. Namaste.